When people are nearing the end of their lives, a lot of the time they have started planning out the details. They have picked out their casket or decided to be cremated, they have their plot picked out, and even tell their family what they would like to happen at their funeral. Well, Bill Standley of Mechanicsburg planned his burial for 18 years, and these funeral photos are unbelievable. The former rodeo rider and motorcycle enthusiast made arrangements with the funeral home and local authorities to be buried astride his beloved 1967 Harley Davidson. Bill Standley was the kind of guy who lived life exactly the way he wanted, usually while riding a motorcycle or a horse. He made sure his funeral would be exactly what he wanted, too. Standley was buried straddling his Harley Davidson motorcycle in a casket made of plexiglass and plywood. It was a funeral he started planning 18 years ago, long before he could have known all about the cancer that killed him at the age of 82. So Standley and his sons designed a brace that hooked into the bike and led up his back to surround his rib cage. 5 years ago, Standley went before the Champaign County Board of Health to discuss his plans. They told him he'd have to come up with a special vault and drain all the fluids out of the bike before he could be buried with it. He knew 18 years earlier that he would one day be buried with his passion, his Harley Davidson. Standley and his sons also designed his casket. They painted the wood bright green, like the fields Bill imagined riding through for eternity. They painted the floor black with a single white stripe, like the highway that would take him wherever he was headed after this life. All of his friends gathered around to give Standley the most unique send-off ever. They lowered him into the vault carefully, as to not disturb the setup he had inside his unusual coffin. I bet this was the first time the Champaign County Board of Health heard this type of request. Bill loved his bike so much he had to be buried with it. What a great family to support and help make this happen. Bill is now in his final resting spot as he rides his Harley Davidson through the green fields of farmland. Here is a look at what the coffin looked like before the funeral. Can't take it with you when you die? This man proves everybody wrong. You can tell that Bill Standley really loved this bike and it was his passion. Growing up, I had a car that I fell in love with. A 1968 Pontiac Firebird 400 that I bought when I was 18. I always thought I would be buried in that car, but life changes and I had to sell it. I envy Bill and how he stuck to his plan for 18 years. You know, he is riding his hog through green pastures on a beautiful highway in the sky.